The basement door slammed behind me with such force that dust particles danced in the thin beam of light streaming through the keyhole. My heart hammered against my ribs as I stumbled down 3 steps before catching myself on the cold railing. "Have fun with the spiders, Sienna." Madison's voice dripped with venom from the other side. The lock clicked into place, and her footsteps faded away upstairs, each one echoing like a nail in my coffin. "I'm Sienna, and this is how my 16-year-old stepdaughter decided to welcome me home after my first business trip as a married woman." "Madison, this isn't funny." I pounded on the door, my fist connecting with solid wood. The impact sent shockwaves up my arm, but the pain barely registered through my rising panic. "Let me out right now, Stepdaughter." Silence answered. Well, not complete silence. Something scuttled in the darkness behind me, and my skin crawled. I fumbled for my phone, cursing when I remembered it was still in my purse, upstairs in the kitchen, where I'd dropped it before Madison asked me to check something in the basement. The darkness pressed in around me, thick and suffocating. I'd avoided this basement since moving in 6 months ago. Daniel had laughed at my unease, calling it cute how I'd send him down to fetch things from the storage room. If he only knew how his precious daughter would use my fear against me. "Help!" I screamed, knowing it was useless. Daniel wouldn't be home from work for hours, and our nearest neighbors were too far to hear. My hand brushed against something in my jacket pocket, the small flashlight I'd started carrying after that power outage last month. With trembling fingers, I clicked it on, the beam cutting through the darkness like a knife. Boxes, shelves, old furniture draped in sheets, normal basement stuff that somehow looked sinister in the harsh light. A mirror in the corner caught my reflection. Wide eyes, pale face, disheveled dark hair. I barely recognized myself. "Think, Sienna, think," I muttered, forcing myself to take deep breaths. The basement had to have another way out. The previous owners mentioned something about a crash upstairs made me jump. Madison's voice drifted down, speaking to someone. My blood ran cold when I recognized Rachel's voice, my best friend who was supposed to come over for coffee. "Sienna, she left about an hour ago," Madison said, her voice perfectly concerned. "Said something about running errands. I can tell her you stopped by when she gets back." That little snake. I could picture her now, all innocent smiles and worried eyes, playing the part of the perfect stepdaughter while I was trapped down here like some dirty secret. "Oh, that's weird," Rachel replied. "She texted me to come over. Maybe she got delayed. You know how she is, always running late." The conversation continued, but their voices grew fainter. No, no, no. Rachel couldn't leave. She was my only chance. I opened my mouth to scream again, but stopped. Madison would only turn it against me somehow. She'd been doing that for months, twisting every situation, making me look unstable, paranoid. Even Daniel had started giving me those concerned looks, suggesting maybe I was too stressed at work. My flashlight beam caught something else. A small window near the ceiling, mostly blocked by an old bookshelf. If I could climb up, but as I moved closer, I noticed the window had been painted shut recently. The paint was still tacky in spots. This wasn't an impulsive act. Madison had planned this. I sank down onto a dusty box, my mind racing. All those little incidents over the past months, my missing car keys, the accidentally deleted work presentations, the rumors at Daniel's office party, they weren't random acts of teenage rebellion. This was calculated, methodical. The flashlight flickered, and something inside me hardened. Fine. If Madison wanted to play games, I could play too. But unlike her, I had years of experience in the corporate world, where destroying someone required precision, patience, and most importantly, plausible deniability. I heard the front door close upstairs. Rachel was gone. I was alone in the dark with my thoughts and a growing sense of purpose. Game on, Madison. Game on. Daniel found me 3 hours later, huddled in a corner of the basement, my flashlight dead. His face twisted with concern as he helped me up the stairs. But it wasn't me he rushed to check on first. "Madison, sweetheart." His footsteps thundered up to the second floor, while I stood in the kitchen, still shaking, still tasting dust in my mouth. "I'm fine, Dad," Madison called down, her voice honey-sweet. "Just finishing my homework." I gripped the kitchen counter until my knuckles went white. The lies came so easily to her, wrapped in teenage innocence and practiced charm. When Daniel returned, he wrapped his arms around me, but his eyes were distant, already processing how to minimize this latest misunderstanding. "The door must have stuck again," he said, rubbing my shoulders. "I'll have someone look at it this weekend." "The door didn't stick," I said, stepping away from his embrace. "Madison locked me in there, on purpose." His sigh felt like a knife between my ribs. "Sienna, honey, I know things have been challenging, but Madison wouldn't do that." Shadow, our black cat, wound between my legs, purring. "At least someone in this house was on my side. Have you even asked her? She's been in her room all afternoon, studying for her chemistry test." He loosened his tie. A gesture I'd learned meant he was done discussing the topic. "Maybe you should lie down. You look pale." The doorbell rang before I could respond. Through the front window, I spotted Rachel's car. She must have come back, worried when I didn't answer her texts. Madison appeared at the top of the stairs, as if summoned. "I'll get it." "No," I said, my voice sharper than intended. "I'll get it." But Madison was already halfway down, shooting me a look that said she knew exactly what would happen if I tried to tell Rachel the truth. She'd twist it, like she always did, make me sound paranoid, unstable, the crazy stepmother trying to come between a father and his daughter. Rachel's smile faltered when she saw my face. "Sienna, are you okay? I stopped by earlier, but..." "She was running errands," Madison cut in smoothly. "Right, Sienna?" I felt Daniel's presence behind me, waiting to see how I'd handle this. One wrong move, and I'd be the villain in tonight's dinner conversation. Again. "Right," I forced myself to say. "Sorry about that, Rachel. I should have texted." Rachel's nurse's instincts kicked in. I could see it in the way her eyes narrowed, assessing me. "Well, I brought that book you wanted to borrow. Mind if I come in for a minute?" "Actually," Madison piped up, "we were just about to have a family dinner. Dad promised to help me with my chemistry homework after." Daniel's hand squeezed my shoulder. "Rain check, Rachel." I watched my best friend leave, taking with her my chance to expose Madison's true nature. Through the window, I saw our neighbor Ethan walking his dog, pausing to wave at Rachel's retreating car. He glanced up at our house, and for a moment, our eyes met. Something in his expression suggested he'd witnessed more than he let on. "I'm starving," Madison announced, heading for the kitchen. "Sienna, didn't you say you were going to make that pasta thing tonight?" My hands clenched into fists. The pasta thing, the recipe she'd specifically requested this morning, knowing exactly how her afternoon plans would unfold. "I need to check something for work," I said, heading for the stairs. "You two go ahead." In our bedroom, I pulled out my laptop and opened a new document, started typing. Every incident, every misunderstanding, every manipulative moment since I'd married Daniel 6 months ago. Times, dates, witnesses, the paint on the basement window, Rachel's visit, Ethan's knowing look. Madison wanted to play chess, fine, but she'd forgotten something crucial about me. Before I met Daniel, I'd spent 15 years in corporate marketing, where documenting everything wasn't paranoia, it was survival. "Sienna," Daniel called up. "You coming down?" I saved the document and named it Insurance. "Be right there," I called back, a plan already forming in my mind. Madison might have Daniel wrapped around her finger, but she'd made a critical mistake today. She'd shown her hand too soon. And I'd learned long ago that the best revenge isn't served hot or cold. It's served with a smile and impeccable documentation. The email from my boss arrived during dinner. Another presentation corrupted, another deadline missed. My hands trembled as I read it on my phone under the table. Madison's voice chattering about her day, providing perfect cover. And then Jessica said the funniest thing about Sienna's outfit at the school fundraiser last week. My head snapped up. What fundraiser? The conversation screeched to a halt. Daniel's fork paused halfway to his mouth. The one you promised to help organize, Madison said, eyes wide with practiced innocence. Everyone was asking where you were. I had to tell them you forgot. I never promised. I stopped remembering the deleted calendar entries I discovered last week, the missing emails, the convenient, technical glitches that seemed to follow me lately. It was pretty embarrassing, Madison continued, picking at her salad. Mrs. Peterson said maybe you were still adjusting to family life. Daniel cleared his throat. Madison, that's enough. But it wasn't enough. Not anymore. Show me your phone, he said, spisket. Madison clutched her phone closer. Show me your phone right now. Dad, she turned to Daniel, tears already welling up. She's being crazy again. Sienna, Daniel's voice carried that warning tone I'd grown to hate. Let's not. A notification pinged on my laptop upstairs. Another email. Probably another crisis. I pushed back from the table, my chair scraping against hardwood. I need some air. Outside, the evening air felt thick with unspoken accusations. I walked to the end of our driveway, then kept walking, my heels clicking against pavement like a metronome, counting down to disaster. Rough night, I startled. Ethan stood in his front yard, garden hose in hand, though his flowers looked thoroughly watered. Just family dinner theater, I said, aiming for lightness and missing by miles. Interesting performance the other day, he said, eyes sharp, despite his casual tone. When Madison told your friend you weren't home, my breath caught. You saw that. I see a lot from my office window. He coiled the hose slowly, like how your stepdaughter seems to have a habit of going through your car when you're not around. The missing presentation files, the corrupted emails, the calendar chaos. Why are you telling me this? Ethan's smile didn't reach his eyes. Let's just say I recognized the signs. My ex-wife's daughter had similar hobbies. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Daniel, come home, we need to talk. Careful, Ethan called as I turned to leave. Teenagers like Madison? They're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Back home, Daniel waited in his study. Madison's crying echoed from upstairs, a performance worthy of Broadway. This has to stop, he said, rubbing his temples. These accusations, this paranoia. Check her phone, I interrupted. Just check her phone, Daniel. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. She's 16. She deserves privacy. And I deserve not to have my career sabotaged. Shadow leaped onto the desk between us, tail twitching. In the silence that followed, Madison's sobs grew louder, more theatrical. I think, Daniel said carefully, maybe you should stay with Rachel for a few days. Clear your head. Something snapped inside me. You want me to leave? Just temporarily, until things calm down. I laughed, a harsh sound that made Shadow's ears flatten. Things won't calm down, Daniel. They'll get worse, because that's exactly what she wants. His face hardened. That's enough. No, it's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. I moved toward the door, then stopped. But it will be. Upstairs, Madison's crying ceased abruptly. In that moment of silence, I made my decision. Ethan was right. This was chess, not checkers, and I'd just spotted my opponent's weakness. I'll pack a bag, I said, watching Daniel's shoulders sag with relief. But first, I need to send a work email. He nodded, already reaching for his phone to comfort his daughter. In our bedroom, I opened my laptop and created a new email address. Then I started typing. Dear Mrs. Peterson, I recently learned about the fundraiser incident and wanted to clarify something. Madison wanted to play, fine, but she'd forgotten something crucial about chess. Sometimes the queen has to leave the board to win the game. Rachel's guest room felt like exile, but it gave me space to think. 3 days had passed since Daniel suggested I clear my head, and my phone remained silent except for work emails, each one a fresh disaster I couldn't quite prove was Madison's doing. You need to eat something, Rachel said, setting down a plate beside my laptop. The smell of toast turned my stomach. I found something, I said instead, turning the screen toward her. Look at these timestamps. Rachel leaned in, squinting at the email logs. Every corrupted file, every missed meeting. They all happened when Madison was supposedly at debate team practice, which means there is no debate team this semester. I checked with the school. The doorbell interrupted Rachel's response. Through the window, I spotted Ethan on the porch, holding what looked like a manila envelope. "I have something you need to see," he said when Rachel let him in. His usual casual demeanor was gone, replaced by something harder. "But first, you need to tell me exactly what happened the day your predecessor left the company." My throat went dry. "What?" He pulled out several printed pages. "Because according to these, Sarah Jenkins didn't just quit. She had a complete breakdown after her stepdaughter accused her of harassment." The toast in my stomach turned to lead. "How did you cum?" "I do background checks for a living," Ethan said. "And Madison's mother didn't just leave town for a fresh start, like Daniel claims. She fled after similar accusations from another teenager at her workplace." Rachel's hand on mine, squeezing tight. "Sienna, what aren't you telling us?" My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Madison's crying again. When are you coming home?" "It's a pattern," Ethan continued, laying out more papers. "3 women before you, all stepmothers, all professionally discredited, all gone within a year." "But why would Daniel?" Rachel started. "Because he gets to play the hero," I whispered, pieces clicking into place. The devoted father protecting his daughter, the understanding husband supporting his unstable wife. My phone buzzed again. "Madison this time. I miss you, maybe I overreacted. The perfect trap. Return home and face more sabotage, or stay away and prove I'm abandoning my family." "There's more," Ethan said quietly. "Your company's HR department received an anonymous complaint yesterday about inappropriate behavior toward a minor." The room spun. Rachel cursed, but I barely heard her. All I could see was Madison's innocent smile, her perfectly crafted tears, her father's concerned frown as he suggested I take some time away. My phone lit up with another text from Daniel. "We should talk. Come home tonight?" "Don't," Rachel said, reading my expression. "Sienna, whatever you're thinking." But I was already grabbing my coat. "I need to get something from the house, just one thing." "It's a trap," Ethan warned. "Once those accusations hit—" "I know," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "But my laptop's still there, with everything I've documented, everything I've backed up, including emails I'd never sent. Insurance, I'd called it. Now it looked more like survival." "I'll go with you," Rachel offered. "No." I checked my phone one last time. Daniel's last message glowed. "Madison's making your favorite dinner." "I need to do this alone," I said, thinking of the basement, of locked doors and painted windows, of a teenager who'd learned too well how to destroy lives while keeping her hands clean. But Madison had made one crucial mistake. She thought she was playing against another Sarah Jenkins, another woman who'd break and run when the accusations flew. She didn't realize she was playing against someone who'd spent 15 years documenting everything, who knew exactly how to make evidence disappear or appear. "If I'm not back in an hour," I told Ethan, "send everything you found to these email addresses." I scribbled down 3 contacts: my lawyer, my boss, and most importantly, Mrs. Peterson from the school board. Rachel grabbed my arm. "What are you going to do?" I thought of my hidden files, of Madison's careful manipulations, of Daniel's practiced concern. "I'm going to teach my stepdaughter a lesson about karma," I said, stepping into the gathering dark. "And this time, I'm not the one who's going to disappear." The house key felt heavy in my hand as I stood on my own doorstep, watching shadows move behind the curtains. "Madison's favorite dinner," Daniel had said, as if pasta could erase weeks of calculated destruction. Shadow wound between my legs as I entered, his purr a warning rather than a welcome. The laptop was upstairs in my office, assuming Madison hadn't already gotten to it. "Sienna?" Daniel's voice from the kitchen. "Is that you?" I kept my footsteps silent on the stairs, counting seconds. 3 minutes to grab the laptop, 2 to transfer the files, 1 to, "I knew you'd try something like this." Madison stood in my office doorway, my laptop open on her lap. Her smile reminded me of a documentary I'd once watched about predators. "That's private property," I said, my voice steadier than my hands. "Like Sarah Jenkins' private emails?" She turned the screen toward me. "The ones where she begged Dad not to believe the lies? Or maybe Catherine Mills' resignation letter, the one she wrote right before her nervous breakdown?" Each name hit like a slap. "How long have you been planning this?" "Since Dad first mentioned you." She set the laptop down carefully. "You seemed smarter than the others, though. I actually had to work for this one." Footsteps on the stairs, Daniel coming to complete their performance. "I found something interesting," Madison continued, pulling up a document. "Your little insurance file, the one documenting everything?" Her fingers danced across the keyboard. "It's amazing how easy it is to edit metadata, to make it look like someone's been fabricating evidence for months." The footsteps grew closer. "Why?" I whispered. "What did I ever do to you?" "I did it." "To me?" She laughed, the sound like breaking glass. "Nothing. That's not the point. It's what you did to Dad. Made him think he needed someone else. Made him forget about Mom. Your mother left because you people always leave." Her mask slipped just for a moment. "But Dad stays. He always stays with me." Daniel appeared in the doorway, his concerned expression so perfectly rehearsed, it made my stomach turn. "Everything okay up here?" he asked, as if he hadn't heard every word. Madison's tears appeared on cue. "I was just trying to apologize, Dad," but she started accusing me again. I looked between them, father and daughter, their routine polished by practice. How many times had they performed this play? How many women had stood where I stood, realizing too late they were never meant to have a permanent role? But I wasn't Sarah Jenkins or Catherine Mills. I pulled out my phone, dialed without looking, put it on speaker. "Ethan Carter Investigations," the voice answered. "This call is being recorded." Madison's tears dried instantly. Daniel stepped forward, but I held up my hand. "Would you mind sharing what you found about the Jenkins case?" I asked, watching their faces. "And the Mills case? And especially about Madison's mother?" "Sienna." Daniel's voice dropped to a warning growl. "Think carefully about what you're doing." "The files are already sent," I said, though my heart hammered. "To my lawyer, my boss, and Mrs. Peterson. Everything, including the basement incident." Madison's mask cracked further. "You're lying." "Check your email, Mr. Taylor," Ethan's voice cut in. "You'll find everything there, including some interesting financial records. Seems paying off previous stepmothers leaves quite a paper trail." The silence stretched like a wire about to snap. Then Madison laughed, not her usual calculated giggle, but something wild and sharp. "It doesn't matter," she said. No one will believe you. They never do." "They might not believe me," I agreed, reaching for my laptop. "But they'll believe the recordings, the ones from every room in this house, including your little confession just now." Daniel lunged for the laptop, but I was faster. Years of corporate politics had taught me one crucial lesson: always have a backup plan. "One more step," I warned, "and everything goes public. Every case, every payoff, every carefully orchestrated breakdown. How many careers have you destroyed, Madison? How many lives?" She stared at me, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. "Your move," I said softly. "But remember, I'm not playing chess anymore. I'm burning the whole board." The school board meeting room felt like a courtroom, with Mrs. Peterson's disapproving stare serving as judge and jury. My evidence lay scattered across the table: emails, recordings, financial records, but Madison's tearful performance was stealing the show. "I just wanted a mother," she sobbed, Daniel's arm protectively around her shoulders. But she kept trying to turn everyone against me. I watched the board members exchange glances, their sympathy clearly lying with the traumatized teenager rather than the unstable stepmother. Even my recordings worked against me. Madison's confession twisted into the desperate acts of a scared child, protecting herself from an obsessive adult. "Mrs. Taylor," Mrs. Peterson adjusted her glasses. "These accusations are very serious, but what concerns us more is your apparent fixation on documenting a minor's private moments." Private moments. My laugh sounded hollow, even to my own ears. She locked me in a basement. She sabotaged my career. She created a cry for help. Daniel interrupted smoothly. One we clearly missed, caught up in our own concerns about your stability. The trap snapped shut with brutal efficiency. Every piece of evidence I'd gathered now looked like proof of my own obsession. Every recording painted me as the unstable one. Even Ethan's investigation backfired. What kind of person hired a private investigator to spy on their teenage stepdaughter? I have statements, Daniel continued, sliding a folder forward, from Sarah Jenkins and Catherine Mills, about similar patterns of behavior. My blood ran cold. Of course he'd contacted them. Of course they'd back his story. Anything to stay buried, to keep their own broken pieces hidden. That's not, I started. But Madison's next performance cut me off. I should have told someone sooner, she whispered, tears perfectly timed. About the cameras, the stalking, how she'd follow me to school events pretending to be involved. The school board secretary was taking notes, each tap of her keyboard, another nail in my professional coffin. I looked around the room, searching for one sympathetic face, but found only judgment and disgust. My phone buzzed. Rachel, probably wondering why I hadn't answered her warnings about this meeting being a mistake. Beside her name, I spotted an email notification from my boss regarding your immediate termination. Given the severity of these concerns, Mrs. Peterson said, we'll be recommending a full investigation and temporary restraining order. You can't. It's for the best, honey, Daniel said, his concern so convincing I almost believed it myself. We can get you help. Real help this time. Madison buried her face in his shoulder, but not before I caught her smile. The same one she'd worn in the basement, watching me pound on a locked door. I have proof, I insisted, my voice cracked. The basement door, it was painted shut. There are witnesses. You mean Mr. Carter? Daniel pulled out another document. Your private investigator's license was revoked last year. Something about harassment charges from his own stepdaughter situation. The final piece clicked into place. Ethan hadn't been helping me. He'd been setting me up. Another player in Madison's elaborate game. If you'll excuse us, Daniel stood, gathering Madison close. My daughter's been through enough today. I watched them leave, Madison's tears had already dried, her performance complete. Through the window, I spotted Ethan waiting in his car, a silent reminder that I'd never really had allies, only carefully placed props in someone else's story. Mrs. Peterson cleared her throat. Mrs. Taylor, given these developments, we strongly suggest you seek professional help and stay away from Madison. My evidence sat useless on the table, transformed from ammunition into proof of my own unraveling. Every move I'd made, every precaution I'd taken, had been anticipated and turned against me. You don't understand, I whispered, but the room was already emptying, leaving me alone with the ruins of my reputation and career. My phone buzzed again, an email from Daniel's lawyer this time. Divorce papers, probably, the final act in Madison's carefully orchestrated destruction. I'd thought I was burning the chessboard, but I'd never been a player at all. Just another piece to be sacrificed in Madison's game. My moves predicted and countered before I'd even made them. The question wasn't how to win anymore. The question was whether I had anything left to lose. Rachel's spare bedroom had become my war room, walls covered with printouts and photos. 3 weeks since the school board meeting, and I'd finally found what I was looking for. In Daniel's banking records, of all places. My phone buzzed. Madison. Miss you, Sienna. Dad says you can come home if you agree to counseling. I ignored it, focusing on the document in front of me. Regular payments to a private account, starting exactly when Madison's mother disappeared. Not alimony, not child support, something else. The doorbell rang. Through the window, I spotted Daniel's car in the driveway. You shouldn't be here, I said through the crack in the door. Madison's in trouble, he replied, his face drawn. Real trouble, she needs you. I almost laughed. Like Sarah Jenkins needed you, or Catherine Mills, or Madison's mother? His expression shifted, something darker replacing the practiced concern. You don't know what you're talking about. Actually, I held up my phone. I do. I found her, Daniel. Madison's mother? She's not living her best life in California, like you told everyone. She's in a psychiatric facility in Oregon, under a different name, paid for by you. The mask slipped completely. You had no right. To what? Investigate why 3 women before me had mental breakdowns, why they all claimed Madison was destroying their lives, right before being diagnosed with paranoid delusions. A car door slammed behind him. Madison emerged, her usual perfect composure cracking around the edges. You're supposed to be gone, she spat. They all leave, that's how it works. Madison, Daniel warned, but she was already pushing past him into the house. You ruined everything. She grabbed the nearest paper from my wall, tearing it down. We were happy before you came, before all of them came. Were you? I kept my voice steady. Or were you just better at hiding it then? She whirled on me, tears replaced by something feral. You don't understand. None of you understood. He's mine. Madison, stop. Daniel reached for her, but she shoved him away. You promised, she screamed at him. You promised after Mom that you would just be us. But you kept bringing them home trying to replace her. The pieces clicked into place. Not just a jealous daughter. A traumatized child, enabled by a father too guilty to set boundaries. Each new wife a fresh target for Madison's rage. Each breakdown carefully orchestrated to maintain their dysfunctional dynamic. Your mother's not gone because she abandoned you, I said softly. She's gone because she saw what you were becoming, what your father was letting you become. Madison lunged, but I was ready. The phone in my hand was still recording, still broadcasting live to Rachel's laptop downstairs, to my lawyer's email, to Mrs. Peterson. Tell them, I demanded as Daniel tried to separate us. Tell them how you did it, how you made each of us look crazy, how your father helped cover it up. You don't know anything. But her voice cracked, the perfect performance finally faltering. Meg, I know about the payments, the facility, the NDAs they all signed. I turned to Daniel. How long before Madison turns on you too? When you eventually try to date again, when you can't meet her demands. That's enough, he growled. But Madison was already backing away, her carefully constructed world unraveling. You said no one would find out, she whispered to her father. You promised they'd think Mom just left. Daniel's face went pale. Maddie, honey, I did it for you. Her voice rose hysterically. All of it. The basement, the emails, making them look crazy, just like you said Mom was crazy. So they'd leave us alone. The front door opened. Rachel stood there, her phone displaying the live recording. Behind her, Mrs. Peterson and 2 police officers. Madison's scream of rage would have been theatrical if it hadn't been so real this time. As the officers stepped forward, I saw her mask crack completely, revealing the broken child beneath the manipulator. I'm sorry, I said, though I wasn't sure to whom, the traumatized teenager, the enabler father, or the women before me, who hadn't escaped the basement's shadows. Sometimes winning feels exactly like losing. But as they led Madison and Daniel away, I realized this was never about winning. It was about breaking the cycle, even if it meant breaking everything else along with it. The basement door creaked as I pushed it open, dust motes dancing in the beam of my flashlight. 6 months of legal battles, therapy sessions, and sleepless nights had led me back here to where it all began. Shadow wound between my legs as I descended the stairs, each step solid now that Daniel had removed the loose boards. Evidence for the investigation, they'd called it. Evidence of a family's slow collapse. You don't have to do this, Rachel said from the top of the stairs. The realtor can handle everything. But I did have to do this. The house would sell tomorrow, and I needed to face these shadows one last time. My flashlight caught the window, still painted shut, though investigators had photographed it extensively. Madison's first confession had opened a flood of revelations. Daniel's careful documentation of each wife's instability, the coordinated gaslighting, the way father and daughter had perfected their routine through years of practice, A newspaper clipping fluttered from between two boxes. Madison's tearful interview about her mother's abandonment. The truth had been harder to swallow. A woman who'd seen the darkness growing in her daughter, who'd tried to get her help, only to be labeled paranoid and dangerous by her own husband. Found something? Rachel called down. Just ghosts, I answered, moving deeper into the basement. My phone buzzed. Another email from Madison's therapist, requesting a meeting. I'd declined the previous 3. Some bridges couldn't be rebuilt, shouldn't be rebuilt. The last time I'd seen Madison, being led away in handcuffs, she'd looked so young, so broken. But I'd seen the calculation behind her tears, even then. A soft thump made me turn. Shadow had knocked over a box, spilling photos across the floor. I knelt to gather them, freezing when I recognized the faces. Daniel's previous wives, all smiling, all unaware of what awaited them. Each photo carefully dated, documented, like exhibits in a case that would never see trial. Sienna, a new voice from upstairs. You okay down there? Ethan, not the ally I'd thought, but not quite the enemy either. His own stepdaughter had reached out during the investigation, sharing a similar story of manipulation and gaslighting. He'd been trying to warn me, in his way, though his methods had nearly destroyed me. Almost done, I called back, but my hand shook as I picked up the final photo. Madison and Daniel, taken just days before I'd moved in. Their smiles held secrets I hadn't been equipped to read. Something scratched inside the wall. Shadow's ears perked up, his tail puffing. I shifted my flashlight beam, catching a glimpse of movement through a crack in the foundation. The basement had always held secrets, but some were better left buried. I gathered the photos and documents, more evidence for the growing Cass file. Daniel's trial would start next month, though Madison's juvenile hearings had already begun. Their perfect facade had crumbled, revealing the rot beneath. Ready? Rachel asked as I emerged, blinking in the bright light of the kitchen. Almost. I moved through the house one last time, Shadow at my heels. Each room held memories of a life I'd tried to build, of a family that had never really existed. In my office, I retrieved the final item, my laptop, still containing the recordings that had exposed everything. At the front door, I paused. The house felt different now, its shadows less threatening, its secrets laid bare. But as I turned to leave, Shadow suddenly hissed, his gaze fixed on something upstairs. I followed his line of sight to Madison's bedroom window. For a moment, I could have sworn I saw a face, young, tear-streaked, calculating. But it was just a trick of the light, a reflection of what I'd learned about family, about revenge, about the fine line between justice and destruction. Goodbye, Shadow, I whispered, but he'd already slipped away into the darkness of the house, choosing to keep his own counsel about which secrets to keep and which to reveal. I locked the door one final time, leaving the key under the mat for the realtor. As I walked away, I didn't look back at the house or its basement full of shadows. Some stories don't need an ending to be finished. They just need fame, just need to be survived.
I stare at the pink slip in my hands, the words, "Termination effective immediately," swimming before my eyes like cruel little fish. 10 years of dedication to the Riverside Public Library, reduced to a single sheet of paper and a box of personal belongings. "I'm sorry, Sarah," Director Thompson says, not meeting my eyes. His hands fidget with a gold pen, the same one I'd given him last Christmas. "It's out of my hands. The board's decision is final." The lie in his voice is as clear as the afternoon sun streaming through his office window. I've known this man for a decade, watched him stammer through budget meetings and celebration speeches. He's never been good at deception. "Who made the call?" I ask, my voice steadier than I expect. "Really made it?" He clicks the pen repeatedly, a nervous tick I've seen 1,000 times. "I can't discuss that. Legal reasons, you understand." I don't understand, not at all. But I gather what's left of my dignity and stand up, the chair scraping against the floor with a sound like fingernails on a chalkboard. "Of course, legal reasons." The words taste like vinegar on my tongue. My box sits on my desk, hastily packed by someone else's hands. My carefully curated reading recommendations for the children's section are already gone, replaced by generic bestseller lists. They didn't waste any time erasing me. Emily catches me at the front desk, her face flushed with anger. "This is bullshit, Sarah. Complete bullshit. They can't just..." "They can," I cut her off, shifting the box in my arms. "They did. But your programs, the literacy initiative, someone else will handle it." The words come out sharper than intended, making Emily flinch. "Sorry, I need to process this." The walk to my car feels like a walk of shame, even though I've done nothing wrong. My mind races through possible reasons. Budget cuts, personal vendetta, the recent divorce making me appear unstable. None of it makes sense. My phone buzzes as I reach the parking lot. Unknown number. "Hello? Miss Mitchell?" A man's voice, smooth as aged whiskey. "I couldn't help but notice your situation at the library. Perhaps we could discuss some opportunities over coffee?" I should hang up. Strange men calling at precisely the wrong moment screams, "Trap." But something in his voice holds me there, like a hook caught in tender flesh. Who is this? Ryan Harper. The name means nothing to me, but the confidence in his tone suggests it should. "I have a proposition that might interest you, given your current circumstances." "My current circumstances happened 10 minutes ago." He chuckles, the sound rich and warm. "News travels fast in certain circles. The daily grind, 30 minutes? I'll be the one with the Wall Street Journal and an espresso." I should say no. Should go home, curl up with a bottle of wine, and lick my wounds. But anger and curiosity make a dangerous cocktail. 45 minutes, I counter. I need to drop some things at home. "Perfect. And Miss Mitchell? I'm truly sorry about the library. It's not right what they did to you." The line goes dead before I can respond. I sit in my car, staring at the box of memories in my passenger seat, and feel something shift inside me. The familiar comfort of books and routine crumbles away, revealing something harder underneath, something that wants answers. My phone buzzes again. Emily, probably checking on me. I ignore it. Whatever game this Ryan Harper is playing, whatever circles he moves in that knew about my firing before it happened, I'm going to find out. Because one thing's become crystal clear. This wasn't a simple termination. This was a calculated move in someone else's game. And I'm tired of being a pawn. The daily grind hums with afternoon activity as I spot Ryan Harper exactly where he said he'd be. His tailored suit stands out among the casual crowd like a shark in a goldfish pond. He rises when I approach, and I notice his smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Miss Mitchell, thank you for coming." He gestures to the chair across from him. A steaming cup already waits for me. My usual order somehow. "How did you know what I drink?" "Lucky guess." He slides the cup closer. "Most librarians I know prefer their coffee like their books, complex and thoughtfully prepared." I leave the cup untouched. "Most librarians you know? And how many would that be?" His laugh is practiced, precise. "Point taken. I did my homework before reaching out. Your reputation at Riverside was impressive. The children's literacy program in particular caught my attention. You still haven't explained why I'm here." Direct. I like that. He leans forward, lowering his voice. "What if I told you I could offer you something better than your position at the library? Something that would make today's unpleasantness seem like a blessing in disguise?" My phone buzzes again, Emily's third attempt to reach me. I silence it without looking away from Ryan's face. "I'd say that timing is everything, and yours is suspiciously perfect." Sometimes opportunity knocks at unexpected moments. He pulls out a business card, sliding it across the table. The paper feels expensive between my fingers. "My family's foundation is launching a new educational initiative. We need someone with your expertise to oversee it." "The Harper Foundation," I read aloud. "The logo looks familiar. I've seen it on donor plaques around town. Why me?" "Because you understand the importance of stories, of shaping narratives." Something shifts in his expression, almost imperceptible. The position comes with significant resources at your disposal, complete creative control. And what's the catch? Dinner. He says it simply, like he's suggesting a handshake. With my parents this Saturday, they'll want to meet the person who'll be handling such a delicate project. My coffee sits untouched, growing cold. You orchestrated my firing, didn't you? Instead of denying it, he studies me with newfound interest. Would it matter if I did? The outcome remains the same. You need a job, and I'm offering you an opportunity that could change your life. That's not a no. No, it's not. He reaches across the table, his fingers brushing mine as he retrieves his business card. 7 o'clock Saturday. The address is on the back. Wear something elegant. My mother notices these things. I should walk away. Every instinct screams that I'm being manipulated, moved like a piece on a chessboard. But curiosity burns stronger than caution. Why go to all this trouble? You could have just approached me at the library. Some doors need to close before others can open. He stands, adjusting his cuffs with practiced precision. Besides, I find that people are most interesting when they're knocked off balance, shows their true character. As he turns to leave, I call after him. And what if I don't show up? He pauses, that same calculated smile playing at his lips. Then you'll never know why the board was so eager to let you go, will you? The cafe feels colder after he leaves. I finally take a sip of the coffee he ordered. Perfect temperature, exactly how I like it. My phone buzzes again, this time with a text from Emily. Where are you? We need to talk about what happened. I stare at the message, then at the business card still on the table. Ryan's words echo in my head. Some doors need to close before others can open. He's right about one thing. I want answers. But as I pick up the card and run my thumb across the embossed lettering, I can't shake the feeling that I'm about to walk through a door that won't easily close behind me. Saturday's dinner invitation sits like a weight in my pocket, a ticket to either salvation or damnation. Only one way to find out which. I text Emily back. Rain check. Something came up. Then I add the Harper Foundation's address to my calendar, already wondering what elegant means to people who can orchestrate someone's firing with a snap of their fingers. Game on, Ryan Harper. Game on. The Harper mansion looms before me like something out of a Gothic novel, all sharp angles and dark windows. Victoria Harper's smile is equally sharp as she opens the door, her pearl necklace catching the evening light. Sarah, darling, right on time. Her perfume wraps around me like expensive chains. Ryan speaks so highly of you. The foyer could swallow my entire apartment. Family portraits line the walls, generations of Harpers staring down with identical calculated smiles. Ryan appears at my elbow, his hand settling at the small of my back. Mother, you're hovering. Nonsense. I'm being welcoming. Victoria's eyes flick over my dress, the most expensive thing I own, and clearly not expensive enough. Daniel's in the study. Why don't you show Sarah around while I check on dinner? Ryan guides me through rooms that feel more like museum exhibits than living spaces. In the study, Daniel Harper barely looks up from his laptop. Welcome to the family business, he says, as if my presence is already a foregone conclusion. The word family catches in my throat like a fishhook. During dinner, Victoria orchestrates the conversation like a conductor, each topic carefully selected. Ryan tells us you're quite the expert on community engagement, she says, cutting into her perfectly cooked salmon. Such a shame about the library. Politics can be so messy. Politics? I set down my fork. I was told it was a budget issue. Oh, everything's politics these days. Victoria waves her hand dismissively. The right word in the right ear, and suddenly budgets appear or disappear. Fascinating process, really. Ryan tenses beside me. I feel the trap closing, but can't see its shape yet. Speaking of processes, Daniel interjects. Have you considered our offer, Sarah, the foundation position? I'm still evaluating my options. Victoria's smile tightens. Options, dear, in this economy? Besides, we're offering you something quite special. The foundation's new literacy initiative could use someone with your particular background. My background as a recently fired librarian? Your background as someone who understands loss, Victoria says softly, and the importance of securing one's future. The room suddenly feels airless. Ryan's hand finds mine under the table, but I can't tell if it's meant to comfort or restrain. Mother, Ryan starts, but Victoria cuts him off. I'm simply being honest, dear. Sarah's clearly intelligent. She must understand what we're offering. And what exactly is that? I ask, though I already know the answer won't be the truth. Security, influence, family. Victoria sets down her wine glass with precise movements. Things I imagine you've been missing since your divorce. Speaking of which, how is Thomas enjoying his new position at Sterling & Myers? The law firm partnership suits him, I hear. The pieces click into place with nauseating clarity. My ex-husband's sudden career jump, the library board's unexpected decision, the Harper Foundation's timely offer. You've been watching me, I say. Planning this. Planning implies calculation, Victoria corrects. We prefer to think of it as creating opportunities. For whom? For all of us. Daniel finally looks up from his plate. The foundation needs fresh blood, new perspectives, and you need a safety net. What I need, I push back from the table, is air. Ryan follows me onto the terrace, closing the French doors behind us. Sarah, wait. It's not what you think. Really? Because I think your family orchestrated my firing, manipulated my ex-husband's career, and is now trying to buy me with some vague promise of security. They're trying to help. Help who, Ryan? Them? You? Because it sure as hell isn't me. He runs a hand through his hair, frustration breaking through his polished veneer. You don't understand how they operate. Everything's a transaction to them, even love. Is that what this is? Love? The question hangs between us like smoke. Inside, I can see Victoria watching through the window, her expression unreadable. Come back inside, Ryan pleads. Let me explain. But I'm already moving toward the driveway, my heels clicking against the stone path like tiny hammers nailing shut a coffin. Behind me, I hear Victoria's voice drift through the open window. Let her go, darling. She'll be back. They always come back when they run out of options. I pause at my car, looking back at the mansion. Ryan stands frozen on the terrace, caught between his mother's shadow and the fading light. For a moment, I almost pity him. Almost. The letter arrives on expensive cream paper, hand-delivered to my apartment. Inside, a single sheet contains life-changing news. My great-aunt Eleanor, whom I'd met exactly twice, has left me her entire estate. The inheritance that would solve all my problems. Except for one detail. Victoria Harper is the executor. I'm still staring at the letter when Emily bursts through my door. You need to see this. She thrusts her tablet at me, displaying a news article about the Harper Foundation's latest acquisition, the Riverside Public Library building. They're converting it into a private research facility, Emily says, watching my face. Guess who's leading the project? Thomas. My ex-husband's name tastes like copper in my mouth. They're all connected, aren't they? There's more. Emily swipes to another article. Ryan's been appointed to the city council. The vote was unanimous. A knock at the door makes us both jump. Ryan stands there looking less polished than usual. We need to talk. Emily moves between us. She's not interested. It's about Eleanor Mitchell's estate. His eyes meet mine. Mother's making her move tomorrow. I let him in, despite Emily's warning glare. He paces my small living room like a caged animal. The foundation position, the library, Thomas. It was all groundwork, he says. They needed control of your assets before... He stops abruptly. Before what? Before the merger. He runs a hand through his disheveled hair. Harper Industries is bleeding money. They need Eleanor's estate to shore up the losses. Mother's planning to declare you mentally unfit to manage the inheritance. Emily curses under her breath. I feel oddly calm, like I'm watching this happen to someone else. She can't do that, Emily protests. Sarah's perfectly competent. She has Thomas's testimony about Sarah's emotional instability during the divorce. The library board's statement about her erratic behavior. It's all fabricated, but it's enough, I finish. That's why she wanted me at the foundation, to document my decisions, build a case. Ryan nods, not meeting my eyes. I tried to stop it, but But you're a coward. The words come out flat, factual. Sarah, why tell me now? He finally looks at me. Because I found out what happened to Eleanor Mitchell. She didn't die of natural causes. The room goes silent. Emily's hand finds mine, squeezing hard. Mother arranged for her medication to be adjusted. She'd been planning this for months, waiting for the right moment. When you lost your job, became vulnerable. He trails off. Get out. My voice doesn't shake, neither do my hands. Sarah, please, I'm trying to help. Like you helped Eleanor? The calm starts cracking. Get out. He leaves a file on my coffee table before going. Everything you need to know is in here. But be careful. Mother's having you watched. After he's gone, Emily starts making calls to lawyer friends. I open the file with trembling fingers. Inside, I find documentation of Victoria's schemes, emails, financial records, medical reports, a paper trail of destruction. My phone buzzes with a text from Victoria. Dinner tomorrow? We should discuss Eleanor's estate. Your future depends on it. Emily looks up from her phone. Marcus Flynn called back. He's willing to meet tonight. Who's Marcus Flynn? Former Harper Industries executive, left under mysterious circumstances last year, says he has information we need. I stare at Victoria's text, thinking about Eleanor, about the library, about all the lives the Harpers have casually destroyed. Tell him I'll be there. Sarah, Emily hesitates. Are you sure about this? These people are dangerous. I pick up Eleanor's letter, running my fingers over the expensive paper. They think I'm just another pawn, someone to manipulate and discard. I meet Emily's worried gaze. But they forgot something important. What's that? In chess, a pawn that reaches the other side of the board becomes a queen. I type a response to Victoria. Looking forward to it. The pieces are set. Tomorrow, Victoria expects to meet a broken woman ready to surrender her inheritance. Instead, she'll meet someone else entirely, someone who knows how to play the game. Marcus Flynn's office sits above a closed pawn shop, the kind of place the Harpers wouldn't deign to notice. Perfect for plotting their downfall. Victoria's pattern is consistent, Marcus says, spreading photographs across his desk. She finds vulnerable people with valuable assets, integrates them into the family's orbit, then destroys them systematically. The photos show familiar faces, all people who'd crossed paths with the Harpers, all broken in different ways. My phone buzzes with a text from Lily. Why is Victoria Harper asking me about your mental health? My hands clench. They're targeting my sister. Of course they are. Marcus's voice carries the weight of experience. Victoria likes to create pressure points. Your sister, your job, your reputation. She'll use everything. You sound like you know her well. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. I was chief financial officer at Harper Industries for 15 years, until I discovered irregularities in their charitable foundation's accounts. Next thing I knew, my wife was leaving me over fabricated evidence of an affair, and my teenage daughter wouldn't speak to me. Emily shifts in her chair. Why help Sarah? Why now? Because Victoria made a mistake with Eleanor Mitchell's estate. She got sloppy, left traces. He pulls out another file, including this. The document shows a series of transfers from Harper Industries to offshore accounts, each coinciding with a death or disappearance. Eleanor's name is the last on the list. My phone buzzes again. Ryan. Mother's meeting with the probate judge tomorrow. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. They're moving faster than we thought, I say. Marcus nods. Victoria's desperate. Harper Industries is hemorrhaging money. Without Eleanor's estate, they'll lose everything, Emily finishes. Not just money. Marcus's expression darkens. Power. Control. Victoria's entire identity is built on being untouchable. Take that away. My phone rings. Lily again. This time I answer. Sarah? Her voice trembles. Victoria's here at my apartment. She says she's worried about you, that you're having some kind of breakdown. She brought papers for me to sign. Don't sign anything. My voice sounds strange in my ears. I'm coming over. There's someone else here too. Thomas? Your ex? They're saying... The line goes dead. Emily's already grabbing her keys, but Marcus stops us. Wait, this is exactly what Victoria wants, to force you into making a mistake. That's my sister. And if you rush in without a plan, you'll lose everything, including any chance of helping Lily. He's right, but every second feels like betrayal. I force myself to think like Victoria, calculate moves and counter moves. The probate hearing, I say slowly. What if we let Victoria win? Emily stares at me. Have you lost your mind? No. Marcus leans forward. She's thinking like a chess player. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a piece to win the game. My phone buzzes one final time. Victoria. Lovely chat with Lily. She's so concerned about you, dear. Shall we discuss terms? I show them the message. Victoria thinks she has all the pieces in place, so let's let her think she's won. While we set up the real endgame, Marcus agrees. But Sarah, you need to understand, once we start this, there's no going back. Victoria won't just try to destroy you. She'll annihilate everything you care about. I think about Eleanor, about Lily, about all the lives Victoria has casually ruined, about the look in Ryan's eyes when he finally chose to warn me. Too little, too late. Good, I say, and my voice sounds like someone else's, someone harder. Because I'm going to do the same to her. Emily touches my arm. Sarah, this isn't about revenge anymore. I pick up one of Marcus's photographs, a family much like mine, now broken beyond repair. This is about justice, about making sure Victoria Harper never hurts another family again. Marcus gathers the files with practiced efficiency. Then let's begin. But remember, from this moment on, trust no one. Not Ryan, not the police, not even me. Why not you? His smile turns bitter. Because everyone has something to lose, and Victoria's very good at finding out what that is. I send Victoria a response. Terms, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Then I turn off my phone and start learning how to destroy the woman who thought she could own me. Tomorrow, Victoria Harper will think she's won everything, and that's exactly when she'll start losing it all. The probate hearing feels like a carefully orchestrated play, with Victoria Harper as both director and star. She sits across from me in the judge's chambers, perfectly composed in Chanel, while I deliberately let my hands shake as I hold the papers. Miss Mitchell appears unable to manage her affairs, Victoria says softly, concern dripping from every syllable. The recent erratic behavior, the job loss, the emotional instability. My lawyer, carefully chosen by Marcus for this performance, makes a weak protest. Judge Harrison barely glances up from the documentation. And you're willing to assume responsibility for the estate's management, Mrs. Harper? It's the least we can do for poor Eleanor's niece. I sign the papers with trembling fingers, playing my part. Victoria's smile widens fractionally, a predator's satisfaction at a clean kill. But as we leave the chambers, Emily rushes in, her face ashen. Sarah, it's Lily. She's in the hospital. The performance drops away like shattered glass. What? Apparent overdose, Emily says, watching Victoria from the corner of her eye. They found prescription medications. Victoria touches my arm, her grip steel beneath silk. My dear, this only proves we made the right decision. You need to focus on your sister now, not worry about managing an estate. I pull away, already running. Behind me, I hear Victoria's measured steps following at a careful distance, close enough to show concern, far enough to deny involvement. At the hospital, Thomas stands outside Lily's room, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. My ex-husband, now Victoria's puppet, blocking my path. You can't go in, he says. They're reviewing her psychiatric hold. Psychiatric hold? Given her state when they found her and the notes. What notes? He pulls out his phone, shows me texts supposedly from Lily about my unstable behavior, my paranoid accusations against the Harpers, my declining mental state, all perfectly crafted to support Victoria's narrative. You helped them do this, I realize. To my sister. Sarah, you need help. We're all worried. Ryan appears from around the corner, his face tight. Father's calling an emergency board meeting. They're announcing the merger tomorrow. Merger? The pieces click together with sickening clarity. You're selling Harper Industries. Restructuring, Ryan corrects, not meeting my eyes. Once Mother has control of Eleanor's estate, the company's debt disappears, I finish. And Lily? Was putting my sister in the hospital part of the restructuring plan? Victoria appears behind me, her voice carrying just far enough for nearby nurses to hear. Dear, you're getting agitated again. Perhaps you should let the doctors examine you while you're here? I feel the trap closing. The concerned family members, the documented instability, the convenient timing. One wrong move and I'll join Lily under psychiatric observation. My phone buzzes. Marcus, don't react. Everything's proceeding as planned. But the plan didn't account for Lily, for Victoria crossing this line. Ryan touches my arm. Sarah, please, just let us help. I jerk away, my voice rising deliberately. Help? Like you helped Eleanor? Victoria's mask slips for just a moment. Fear flickers behind her eyes. Security, Thomas calls right on cue. We need assistance here. As security approaches, I let them see exactly what Victoria wants them to see. An unstable woman having a breakdown. I struggle just enough to seem erratic but not dangerous. Take care of my sister, I tell Emily as they lead me away. Don't let them near her. Victoria watches from the doorway, victory written in every line of her perfect posture. She thinks she's won everything, the estate, the company, my freedom, my sister. She doesn't see Marcus in the parking lot, recording everything. Doesn't notice Emily slipping a nurse a thumb drive. Doesn't realize that sometimes, to win the game, you have to sacrifice your queen. In the security office, waiting for the psychiatric evaluation that Victoria undoubtedly arranged, I close my eyes and think of Eleanor, of Lily, of all the pieces Victoria moved so carefully into place. My phone buzzes one last time. Marcus. Files delivered. Tomorrow's board meeting will be interesting. I delete the message just as the doctor arrives, his clipboard already full of Victoria's carefully crafted concerns. Time to play my final role, the pawn who didn't realize she was about to become a queen. Tomorrow, Victoria Harper will learn that the game isn't over until the last piece falls, and I intend to make sure that piece is her. The Harper Industries boardroom buzzes with tension as Victoria takes her place at the head of the table. I watch through the security feed from Marcus's laptop, surrounded by federal agents in an unmarked van outside. The merger documentation is complete, Victoria announces to the board. With the Mitchell estate securing our position, the boardroom door swings open. Ryan walks in, followed by Emily and a stone-faced woman in a federal jacket. Actually, Mother, Ryan says, his voice steady, we should discuss the irregularities in the foundation's accounts first. Victoria's smile doesn't waver. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time. I step into the room, making Victoria freeze mid-sentence. Before we discuss my aunt's estate, let's talk about how she died. Security! Daniel starts to rise, but the federal agent raises her badge. Nobody leaves this room. Victoria's composure cracks for just a moment. Sarah, dear, shouldn't you be at the hospital? With my sister? The one you poisoned with the same medication cocktail that killed Eleanor? I slide a USB drive across the polished table. Everything's here. The offshore accounts, the falsified medical records, the pattern of mysterious deaths following Harper Foundation interventions. Lies, Victoria hisses, from an unstable woman. From your own records, Marcus steps in, carrying a familiar leather briefcase. The ones you kept in your private safe. The one I installed when I was CFO. Victoria's eyes dart between faces, calculating odds, searching for allies. She finds none. Ryan, she tries, surely you don't believe. I found Eleanor's original medical records, Ryan cuts her off. The ones before you had them altered. I'm done protecting this family's secrets. Victoria laughs, the sound brittle as breaking glass. Protected? You've never protected anything, Ryan. You're weak, just like your father. I built this empire while he played golf and you chased pretty girls. I made us untouchable. You made us monsters, Ryan says quietly. Victoria stands, suddenly radiating fury. Everything I did for this family, for our legacy. You think you can destroy that with some paperwork? I own this town. One phone call. To whom? I ask. Judge Harrison? He's being questioned about Eleanor's probate hearing. Thomas? He's already cutting a deal to save himself. Your pet doctors? They're running scared. You stupid girl. Victoria's smile turns vicious. You think this is justice? Revenge? You're just like the others, weak, sentimental, easily broken. I'll destroy you, just like I destroyed them. And when I'm done, no one will even remember your name. That's where you're wrong. I pull out my phone, press play. Victoria's own voice fills the room, confessing to Eleanor's murder in the hospital corridor. I don't care if people remember my name. I care that they'll never forget yours. The boardroom erupts into chaos. Federal agents pour in. Daniel crumples in his chair. Board members scramble to distance themselves. But Victoria stands perfectly still, staring at me with something like recognition. Well played, she says softly. I almost wish you were really my daughter-in-law. We could have been magnificent together. I prefer magnificent on my own. As they lead Victoria away, Ryan touches my arm. Sarah, Don't. I step back. You chose your side too late. What happens now? I look around the boardroom at the empire Victoria built through blood and manipulation. Now, I'm going to do what librarians do best, preserve history, make sure no one forgets what happened here. Marcus appears at my shoulder. The federal investigation will take months. They'll want your testimony. They'll have it after I check on my sister. I turn to leave, but Victoria's voice stops me at the door. You think this is over? That you've won? She laughs, the sound echoing off marble walls. Oh, my dear, you have no idea what you've started. I meet her eyes one last time. No, Victoria, this isn't about winning, it's about justice. The difference is what you never understood. The federal agents lead her away, but her laughter follows me down the corridor. I don't look back. I've seen enough of Victoria Harper's face to last a lifetime. Besides, I have a sister to visit, a foundation to rebuild, and a story to tell. And this time, I'll make sure it has the right ending. The old library building still smells like books, even as workers strip away the Harper Foundation logos. Lily sits beside me on the front steps, her recovery visible in the return of color to her cheeks. What will you call it? She asks, watching the new sign being installed. The Eleanor Mitchell Memorial Library and Community Center. I hand her the dedication speech. Want to read it at the opening? She squeezes my hand instead of answering. We both know what it means, her voice getting stronger, her story becoming part of the narrative. Emily appears with coffee and newspaper clippings. Victoria Harper's conviction made headlines, but the smaller stories matter more. The returned properties, the overturned contracts, the lives slowly being rebuilt from the wreckage of Harper Industries. Marcus called, Emily says, settling beside us. He's testifying in another case. Apparently, Victoria's web stretched further than we thought. And Ryan? Cooperating with the investigation. He's selling everything, using the money to set up victim restitution funds. The morning sun catches the library's windows, and for a moment I see Eleanor's reflection instead of mine. What would she think of all this? Of justice served through careful manipulation and calculated revenge? A familiar car pulls up. Thomas, my ex-husband, looking smaller somehow without Victoria's influence propping him up. Sarah, he approaches cautiously. I heard about the opening. I wanted to... He trails off, noticing Lily's sharp gaze. I'm sorry for everything. I know. And I do know, finally. We were all pieces on Victoria's board, moved by her invisible hands. The difference was in how we chose to break free. He leaves a check, his contribution to the restitution fund, and drives away, one more thread in the tapestry of aftermath. Marcus arrives as the workers finish the sign. Quite a legacy you're building. Speaking of legacies, I turn to face him. When were you going to tell me about your daughter? He stiffens slightly. What about her? That Victoria didn't just destroy your career, that your daughter's mysterious illness cleared up as soon as you agreed to leave Harper Industries. His silence speaks volumes. You could have told me. We were fighting the same battle. No, he says quietly. You were fighting for justice. I was fighting for revenge. There's a difference. Is there? He gestures at the library, at the people gathering for the soft opening. Look what you built from the ashes. Me? I'm still burning. Before I can respond, a commotion erupts at the entrance. Daniel Harper stands there, aged decades in mere months, clutching an old book. It was Eleanor's, he says, holding it out like a peace offering. Victoria kept it as insurance. I thought you should have it. Inside, Eleanor's careful handwriting fills the margins with notes about the Harper family, observations, suspicions, plans never enacted. She saw it all coming, but ran out of time to stop it. Thank you, I say, but Daniel's already walking away, another ghost of the empire Victoria built, and I helped destroy. Lily reads over my shoulder. She was trying to protect you, wasn't she? Eleanor. She was trying to protect everyone. I close the book gently. Come on, let's go inside. The library fills with light and voices, children exploring the new reading nook, adults browsing job resources, life flowing back into spaces Victoria tried to control. But as I walk through my rebuilt world, Victoria's last words echo in my mind. You have no idea what you've started. Maybe she was right. Maybe this isn't an ending at all. Emily touches my arm. You okay? Just thinking about stories, I say, watching Lily help a young girl find the perfect book. How they never really end the way you expect. And how's this one ending? I look around at my transformed kingdom, built not from fear and manipulation like Victoria's, but from the ashes of what she destroyed. The power to help or harm, to rebuild or destroy, now rests in my hands. It's not, I realize. It's just changing chapters. The library hums with possibility, with futures being rewritten page by page. Victoria thought power meant controlling the story. I know better now. True power is giving others the chance to write their own,